Hello, hello. Lovely to see you all. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Joe. Hi, Helen. Hi, Lou. Lou and Bri. Have I got Lou or Bri or both? Hi, Lou. Got you now. Lovely to see you all. We just wait for a few more to join. So who have we got, Lou, in your window? You and your friend? Let me ask you to unmute. See if you can find the button. I've sent you a button to unmute yourself.
Yeah, got it.
Hiya, lovely. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Really good. It's lovely to see you.
You're looking very different from when I saw you in Padstow.
What's different about me? A couple of dress sizes for starters.
Amazing.
Thank you. Feeling amazing. Yeah, feeling great. Paul, is Paul here somewhere? Oops, has he just come back, Paul?
Yeah, get him to wave.
He was out for a walk earlier, but I think I might have just heard him coming back. I must tell him you were here.
Oh yeah, I'll say hello quick.
I'll get him to say hello. Oh, it's lovely to see you both.
Yeah, thank you. And you.
And welcome to everybody else as well. I'm just going to, chit chat for a couple of minutes to make sure that everybody's joined, because I did have almost 20 signed up, but you never know how many people, because some people just sign up for the replay. But I want to give everybody a proper chance to join. Did you all get the emails okay and the joining link?
Yes.
No hiccups. Great. And did you all get a workbook?
Yes.
Yay. Some of you have printed it. That's great. You should find that even if you didn't print it, you should find that you can actually complete it on the computer or on the mobile as well. It's got those fields that you can actually type into, which is important to me because not everybody wants to print on paper, do they? Trying to save the planet and everything. But on the other hand, it is very nice to have a printed copy if you make use of it, because a printed copy, it can help you, to journal, to write things down with pen or pencil. And it's that little reflection time, isn't it? Away from the screen. So whatever serves you best. I always like to do these things printed because it also means that you've got something that you can keep and look back on. When you're having a little bit of time for yourself. That's what this is all about, ladies. Are we all ladies here? We sometimes get a chap or two, but that's what this is all about. This is all about taking care of yourself. This is all about making time to treat yourself well. It's not about weight loss. And it's not about dieting. This is about looking after ourselves in a new way. This kind of new approach is taking the world by storm now. We are starting to realize that we need to start being kind to ourselves and start investing in our emotional well-being and our physical well-being, and forget about what we look like. Of course, we all want to look nice, and we all can. But that's secondary to feeling good, feeling vibrant, feeling healthy, and securing that healthy future for ourselves and our families too. That's why I'm here, ladies. That's why I do this. So I will share some slides with you, and I will tell you a little bit about my backstory. Lou knows me from when I first met my hubby, which is actually 8.5 years ago now, Lou. So I probably met you 8 years ago in the spring when Paul did that bike ride.
Yeah.
So life was quite different then. Still lots of fun, but also a lot heavier in many ways. First things first, logistics. And I must keep an eye on the participants window, because I realized lately that I took the passcode off. And when you take the passcode off Zoom, you can't turn off the waiting room. So I have to be on the ball, and I have to make sure I am watching the waiting room. So I might have my eyes on the other screen from time to time. First things first, who's brought a glass of water with them? Well done, Rebecca. Well done, Helen. Well done, Lou and friend. Yeah, and well done, Amanda and Joe.
There's a bit of vodka in it as well, though.
Vodka's fine, as long as you're getting hydrated. That's what I say. And Amanda's got a nice herbal tea. Perfect. So do you know what? When I started doing these, almost nobody had water. The message is getting through. Absolutely. One of the most fundamental things you can do is start drinking more water, start getting more hydrated. Even if herbal tea, if it's got caffeine in it, you know, if it's normal tea or coffee, I wouldn't count that towards your water. I'm not saying don't drink tea and coffee. I'm just saying have water as well. So let's all take a lovely big sip.
Oh, yes. How come you got red water, Lou?
Do you know what? This is
It's
coming
not
up so much. It's coming up so much for me lately, and this is hopefully going to reflect through in this talk, is it's more about the good stuff you add in than it is about taking away anything that you might think is bad. We don't label anything as bad. Unsupportive, I would label those other things, and less supportive or unsupportive. It's more about adding in the good stuff. And that's the message that will come through in this talk. So logistics are, please do feel free to come on the microphone. Thank you to those of you who are on the camera, and those who aren't, that's absolutely fine too. But keep it nice and informal. It's a lovely little group. If you have anybody who couldn't make the time, the replay will be available. It'll be sent to you. So I must spotlight myself, because then in the recording, it'll only be my face. Spotlight for everyone. Now, if I've gone big and everybody else has gone small now, you can switch it back to gallery if you wish. But I am going to keep
that word. I'm looking at myself.
switch back to gallery if you wish. So, so in theory, it's only my face that'll be in the recording, but I would encourage you to ask questions. And what that means is that your questions will be in the recording. If anybody's got a problem with that, please just let me know, and I can always edit if need be. But I don't share the replay publicly. What I do is I create a private link and I send it to anybody who requests it. So workbooks at the ready. So feel free to ask questions as we go through. Let's keep it chatty. I am going to share my slides, and I'm going to try and watch the chat as well. So we also have a chat window. If you don't want to interrupt because I'm in full flow, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to share this with you, and I want to ask you, can you see my slides, Spring into Health?
Yes.
And can you still see me as well?
Yes.
And does the window look good for slides and then a little me at the side?
Yeah.
Great. Zoom have fixed a bug then.
Slides are really small though.
A bit small.
My slides are a bit small. Right, let me see if I can fix that. So it's possibly down to, if I resize my window, it might not resize it for you. Does it?
We can see your top with your window with like 3 or 4 slides.
So Zoom haven't fixed the bug. Thank you for letting me know. That's exactly the issue I was looking for. Because I got 2 screens. There's a bug in Zoom where it won't share the window properly unless it's on my main screen. Let me try that again. How is that looking now?
You can see. Yeah.
It's still quite small though. I can still see your desktop behind.
I'm going to try again. It's a little bug that. So Canva audience window share. How's that now?
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
Right, now I'm going to try and go the advanced level and move it onto my other screen and see if it breaks it. How's that?
Still there.
Still good?
The same, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Hooray! Thank you. You've helped me solve a problem that's been bugging me for months.
Mhm.
So there's my Spring into Health. This is about, it's about so many things. It's about doing simple things to get immediate benefits in terms of health and energy and vitality and longevity, because we all know that we can eat better. We all know that we can, eat healthier. That will probably mean we'll be healthier in the future, but there's nothing tangible, is there? Sometimes it's really difficult to implement the healthy advice because we don't really see the benefit. I'm talking about doing things that you can do to immediately see the benefit. That's what it's about. Because if you get a short-term reward, you'll stick to it. So a little bit about, here's what I'm going to tell you first, a little bit about my backstory, and then we're going to talk about your health concerns. If anybody's open to sharing, then there's a great opportunity to do that. What do you think is holding you back? And for a lot of us, it's that emotional dependence upon certain types of unsupportive food. Yeah, that tends to be the biggest thing. And so we're going to go just a short class into emotional eating, just so that you can start thinking about things differently. And I guarantee that you will start to think slightly differently about the things that, about anything that's a bit of an emotional crutch for you. We're going to do this without judgment and completely guilt-free, just understanding what's going on for us. And I will be talking to you about my upcoming class, which is at the end of this month on the 27th of March. And so if anybody would like to find out about that, stay till the end and I'll make you a very special offer for attending. But before that, you'll get lots of value out of this, even if you don't want to, even if you're not interested in that, just getting the value out of this workshop, that's what it's for. So Lou will tell you, when this was me around, this was me about 5 years ago, carrying a lot more weight and probably feeling like I was sort of like a fun, life and soul of the party, but probably having too much fun with food. And I think food is fun and occasions are fun and drinking is fun. But when that food and drink becomes the priority for the occasion, it's like, oh, Christmas, what are we going to eat? Oh, going on holiday, what's the food going to be like? What restaurants are we going to go to? Oh, party, where's the buffet table? When that becomes like more an obsession than who is going to be there, what conversations am I going to have, what lovely connections am I going to make, it becomes a little bit out of balance. And I think it was probably quite out of balance for me. And those of us who were unfortunate enough or fortunate enough, let's see, to actually store fat on the body, almost like ruthlessly punished for every small, deviation, it can feel like, well, it's not fair. All I'm doing is having fun. All I'm doing is what everybody else does. And yet it seems to affect me more. So some of us are predisposed to carry an extra weight on our bodies. And I will tell you, it is a blessing because we are the survivors. We are those who have evolved to survive a harsh winter of deprivation and starvation. And so we're the ones whose, our bodies work. There's so many different, there's different body types and there's different types of people in every community. You can imagine we're hunter-gatherers now, and we've got the runners and we've got the athletes and we've got those that store fat well and the ones who like to sort of a little bit more sedentary, who like to cuddle the kids. And it takes all kinds of people in a natural hunter-gatherer community to support that community, right? And we're the ones who show the abundance of food on our bodies. But the good thing is that we would have enough fat to carry us through till spring. And that's how we evolved. So it's not our fault that we store extra fat, but as you'll see in a future slide, I'll skip ahead to that slide actually. As you'll see in a future slide, that's how we were designed to eat. It's the vegetables, the fruits, the meats, fish, eggs, nuts and seeds. That's the way nature provided for us to eat. And with foods looking like this now, it's no wonder. So, now everything's in a packet, everything's got added sugar, everything's processed, everything's somewhat addictive, fast food, flavor enhancers. And so I'm going to go back, but it's not our fault that we're carrying this extra weight. It's because we can't get away from this in this day and age. Whereas if we were living like that, then nobody would have a weight problem because nature wouldn't really allow it to happen. So that was my history. Yeah, it was fun having the parties and the eating out and the having whatever I wanted. But then on the other hand, I'd be crash dieting to try and get rid of it. And every time I went on holiday, I'd gain 7 to 10 pounds and think, well, this is unfair. Mm-hmm. But how was it? What I didn't realize was how the foods I was eating, and I wasn't a junk food, not at all. I was always a reasonably healthy eater. It's just that I would enjoy my food and my drink. But I didn't realize that the tiredness, the lethargy, the afternoon slump was all to do with the way I was eating. I didn't realize that. I know we're starting to realize it now, but did you realize that when you're eating much more aligned with nature, the afternoon slump becomes a thing of the past. You don't suffer with it anymore. You get consistent energy all day, most days. So that afternoon slump, yeah, it's normal, but it's not natural. We were designed to have good energy until we were ready to sleep. So I hadn't realized that. And I hadn't realized that for at least 2 decades, I was stiff and achy. And I knew it wasn't age, because I remember having it in my 30s. I knew it wasn't aging. What was it that was making me stiff and achy? And my hips would be almost painful. You know, I'd stand for maybe 5-10 minutes and start to seize up. And I'd be having to keep moving all the time and lift my hips, lift my knees constantly to keep my hips moving. And I'd say to everybody, do you know what this is? Why am I so stiff? I'd ask the doctor, I'd ask the chiropractor, I'd ask when I went for a massage, do you know what it is? I get this stiffness. Nobody ever told me it was the way I was eating. And it's not that I wasn't getting plenty of nutrition. I think I was doing quite well. I would eat veg and fruit. But it was the unsupportive foods that I was eating that was causing that inflammation in my body. And that's what it was. And I didn't know. And now I am free from it. And now I'm 51 and I got no stiffness. If I'm eating right, and that's not 100% right, you know, I'm maybe 80-90% healthy, but you know, it's when I eat, if I have a Christmas and I go off plan completely, that's when it'll come back. So I now know what causes it. Was it actually fun is the big question. When I was obsessing around food, actually, I don't think it was fun. Eating is fun, making food, sharing food is fun, but is overindulging, like almost secretly, and going back for more and more and more, is that actually fun? You know, it's momentarily, isn't it? Momentarily fun in that taste, but actually that whole experience led to guilt, shame, and all the other, you know, physical downsides. And I must say, it left me feeling desperate. This cycle of dieting and then overindulging left me feeling desperate. I didn't really know what to do about it. Needless to say, I think I'm hoping that we're all starting to arrive at this conclusion that dieting, deprivation, calorie counting, that kind of thing is not the answer. Maybe it is for some people. If you have found a diet that works for you and that feels sustainable, then I'm not knocking it. Everybody's different, okay? But for me, dieting wasn't the answer. And more we're finding that traditional type of dieting is not the answer, because it's too much about restricting you straight away. As soon as you start restriction, and it requires you to be really good at willpower. It requires you to have that stickability. And I couldn't stick to it for a day. I'm a bit of a rebel. I was like, I'm not doing that. I try and do my own thing, you know. I couldn't stick to it. And I know that some people are much better. Some people have better willpower. But the problem with willpower is it's only so long, isn't it? It's short-lived. Some people got willpower, they can carry it through for a number of days or weeks, but it can't sustain you for the rest of your life. So when they'll say, oh, it's not a diet, it's a way of life. What they mean is it is a diet and you have to do this for the rest of your life for it to be sustainable. So there's some willpower involved in doing what they're asking you to do for the rest of your life. And for me, that was a miserable way of living because it didn't allow me the freedom that I wanted and needed for my life. It didn't allow me to eat out at all, because I would have to save up all my points or sins for a whole week just to be allowed like a chicken tikka in the Indian restaurant. And even then it didn't pay for it because, I wanted a glass of wine and some rice and it didn't pay for it. So it was just miserable for me. The other thing about the dieting is it completely ignores the psychology of that kind of, oh, well, this is the way I'm supposed to be eating. And then, we'll just take a break. We'll stop dieting for the weekend and then we'll get back on it. And then you get back on it and you gain weight and then you feel guilty. And then you go, it's this vicious cycle of guilt and then binge eating for some of us, and then trying to, and it's just crazy. It ignores all that positive psychology. And the average, I mean, I know some people can release weight on a diet, and of course, many people have. But when they do the statistics, when they study it, what they found is, on average, for everybody that ever says they've been on a diet, on average, good ones and bad ones included, the typical weight loss is not weight loss, it's gain. It's the overall is 3 pounds for every diet you've ever been on. And, who can relate to that? Because what do you do? What do you end up doing? You end up not dieting and just eating more. Has anybody had that experience?
No.
A lot of people have reported it to me. It's like, oh, well, when I stopped dieting, I ended up putting on more.
Yeah.
So I have a little saying that I think is really helpful. And it's not, we don't fail at diets. People don't fail diets. Diets fail people. What I'm going to talk to you about is not a diet. It's the re-education around food. For me, coming back to my story just briefly, it changed everything when I discovered the answer was in nature and not in the next gimmick or the next fad or the next product or the next shake. It was a learning how we evolved to eat. And lo and behold, if we can align ourselves more with the way nature provided food for us, it turns out that there's so much to be gained in the way of health, energy, and turns out weight loss happens as a side effect. So we don't try and lose weight. We don't try and do portion control or deprivation, or we just re-educating the body and the mind and the habits and the behaviors into eating more natural, less of the processed food. And it turns out that health improves dramatically, not predicted health, but actual measurable health now. And that is in the form of, like I said, reduced inflammation and, overcoming the joint pain and the stiffness, and gut disorders is a very common one because that's all to do with inflammation as well. Allergies can improve. Allergies can improve dramatically. Headaches, improve sleep. We're seeing loads and loads of like almost immediate improvements. I've had quite a few with high blood pressure who've been medicated for that, and then they came off the medication because their blood pressure was managed again. Lots with type 2 diabetes and blood sugars not managed very well. One chap, I was coaching one-to-one. He started with me in September. He completed October, November, December. He completed around Christmas. He'd been signed off work with type 2 diabetes, which had gone not untreated. They'd been treating him, but he was still unmanaged. So they were giving him the maximum they could with the treatment, with the medication, and his blood sugars were still unmanaged. And when the occupational health assessor in work came around and said, we need to see your blood sugars, we didn't realize you had type 2 diabetes. He's a tram driver. He was immediately signed off work. And so he came to me just needing something, and he didn't know what, because he'd already tried to make changes on his own, giving up sugar and that kind of thing. He'd already tried to make changes, but it wasn't enough to get his blood sugars managed. And within 6 weeks of being on this program, he was back in work with blood sugars completely managed. So it might sound like it's a magic wand, or it might sound like it's too good to be true, but it's not. That's what happens when you eat for health. That is what happens. So we will see. So that was me. That was my revelation. And those are the changes in me. And this is now me feeling great. This was taken last summer. So the difference in me is it's not about appearance. It's about vitality. It's about how I feel. It's about my energy and how I feel in clothes. And the fact that I can now put on a nice outfit. Don't get me wrong. I'm still not, skinny. It's just, I can wear a nice outfit now and feel lovely and dance at a party and not feel, really body conscious, really self-conscious. So it's lovely to have that freedom, that lovely sense of being at one, do you know, when you look in the mirror, has anybody ever looked in the mirror and felt, well, that's not the real me. That's not the me that that's it. I used to look in the mirror and think, well, people don't realize, but this isn't the real me. This is like almost like me in a fat suit that I wish I could just take off. That's how I felt. And now, oh yeah, there's still fat on my body, but I feel fabulous. And you know, that's the difference. I feel like I look in the mirror, that's the real me again. And that feels great because that feels authentic. It feels like I can bring my authentic presence to the world now. And I think that's the most important thing, that and your health. So my lovelies, let us talk about you. Who would like to share? What are your main health concerns? Is it like, you know, for me, it was really, I was looking for a solution for weight gain. I didn't realize I was low on energy, but I was very much so. And I didn't realize that I was suffering with inflammation, but I was very much so. And I didn't have any diagnosis of chronic ailments, but my parents were diagnosed a couple of decades ago with type 2 diabetes. So that was probably in store for me. Dad's now got a heart condition. He's absolutely fine. He's been treated for that. But who knows, was that in store for me too, you know? Heart disease. What is it for you, my lovelies? Does anybody want to share what your health concerns are?
Yeah, I'll share. Mine is I don't like the fact that I do exactly what you said just now. When I look in the mirror and I get myself ready in the morning and I go out and I feel great, the person in the mirror looking at me, I'm okay with that. And then somebody will take a photo or something and I look and I think, oh, that's not what I look like when I left this morning. But I've got, the doctors told me I've got arthritis in my hips. And I think I've slowed down just from being told that. And I don't do as much with my grandchildren as I would like. And, you know, that I have said times where I said, well, I can't go down the slide. I've got arthritis in my hip. My daughter says, does it actually hurt? And I go, well, no, it doesn't actually. So when I saw what you were doing here, I thought it's about the mentality of things as well for me.
Yeah. What do you mean exactly by the mentality?
Well, like being told I've got pain in my hip, so therefore I have. And then I think, oh, you know, there's been a few times where I get up out of the chair and I'm sort of like, oh, and I walk across the room and my husband says, your back hurting. I go, no, not really. I don't know why I did that. Do you know what I mean? You just get, oh, interesting. Yeah. But I know that you think it's going because I've been because I've been told I'm expecting it to hurt, you know, and it doesn't really. But certainly I like too much chocolate, too much pizza, too much red wine. And again, mentally, with the red wine, I mean, there are a lot of things. I won't go into all my personal history and everything, but at the end of the day, a glass of red wine was my way of switching off. And I was told by a doctor, mentally, you've got it in your head. It's not about the wine. It's about the fact that that wine means you're sitting down calm. You're associating it with being calm. And actually, it's not the wine that's making you calm at all. It's just that psychologically. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. It was exactly the same for me. And we are going to come to that. There is a slide on that. So we're going to do the work. Thanks for sharing, Lou.
All right.
And Helen says lack of energy, not lack of flexibility, and heart concerns plus the weight. And Rebecca says, yeah, my main concern is lack of energy. And I just want to welcome Penny as well, who's just joined us. Hi, Penny. Will you come on the microphone, lovely, and just tell me what was your main health concern before you did the programme? Penny didn't do it with me, she did it with somebody else, but Penny's had a remarkable transformation.
I think keeping my weight off, maintaining, maybe I'd like to lose some. I didn't lose as much. I walk a lot, but I find that I'm not flexible. So that's a silly thing to say, but I don't have the flexibility that I had when I was young, and I would like that back.
Flexibility, because flexibility is key, isn't it? As we start to get older, we need to maintain that flexibility in order to maintain our mobility and our lifestyle. So absolutely, Penny, and you know it's there for you, don't you? So
I keep working. I'm sorry I'm so late. I couldn't find you. Every time I went onto it, obviously having finger problem or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's all right, my love. Don't worry, because it's recorded. You can always catch up on the first half on the recording.
Oh, that's good. Thank
I'm
you.
really glad you're here, lovely. Thanks for joining us. So, my darlings, let's just share the screen again, audience window. And I've got to do that thing where I share the audience window, share. Right, can you see that again? Yay, right. So that's your main health concern. If it was possible to become the healthiest version of you, you know, improved energy, improved flexibility, reducing the joint pain, knowing that your future is going to be healthier in some way, whether that's heart, you know, the prevention of the heart disease, the type 2 diabetes, the, you know, who knows, but knowing that what you're doing now is going to give you a healthier future, that's going to give you some peace of mind as well. If you could get some of the weight off as well as a side effect of eating to look after yourself, how would it feel? How would it feel to you to improve?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What difference, Lou?
Normal. My friend says, Mel says fantastic. And I just would feel normal. I don't feel like me at the moment. You know, I sort of feel the last 10 years, I wouldn't say I've got old, because I'm quite young in my outlook and things like that, but I'm 60 this year and I'm thinking, you know, I'm not ready yet.
We're not ready to be 60, are we?
No, not at all.
I'm not ready to be 60. I'm 64.
And if 60 could be the new 50, which is what I'm going for, you know, I turned 50, I'm 51. When I turned 50, you know, it's all, when you hit that decade, it always sounds worrying, doesn't it? It sounds older than you want to be.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of it, well, 60 is the new 50. So I'm just heading towards the new 50. And feeling now how I feel at least 10 years younger. Absolutely. Because in my 30s, I was stiff, tired, lethargic, and didn't feel that I had no body confidence. So absolutely, I 10, possibly even 20 years younger, maybe more, because I'm now at this, you know, even if we're just talking in terms of weight, I'm now at the same weight as I was in my 20s. So I'm lighter, you know, I'm lighter than I've been in certainly 20 years, maybe 25. But it's not all about weight. It's about the energy. It's about how you feel. So what difference would it make to your life? What would you do different? What else would you do? Would you do anything? Would you do other activities? Lou, was it Lou you said playing with the grandchildren?
Yeah, I just want to do what I do now. I still go for it. I still go down slides and still do things, but I just feel awkward, cumbersome, tired. It's all just an effort. And I just want to go down the slides and feel great, you know.
Do you go down the slide if you felt good?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yay.
Yeah. But normally I'll go down it once, and then I say to my husband, right, your turn, off you go.
But you're still going down it,
Yeah,
I got a lovely picture. I hope I can dig it out. Of one of my clients from last April, I think it was, Karen. I'll show you a testimonial. Lovely photo of her on a trampoline, and she's well into her 60s, and she's bouncing on a trampoline. And she said, Sue, I could never have done this before. And she's playing with her little grandchild and getting down on her knees to play on the floor with him.
Yeah, well, I can get down on my knees. It's getting back up again.
Getting back up again, isn't it? Amanda says, I would embrace life and all opportunities more readily and more joyfully. Who else feels that there would be more joy in life if you could, just improve that vitality, and that flexibility. So what do you think holds you back? Anybody got any ideas? These are just some of the things that people have said holds them back. Is it some kind of sugar addiction, do you think? Social eating is a big one, because social eating and those associations with food is that, well, I'm at a party, I have to eat party food, right? I'm out with the girls for drinks, well, I have to drink alcohol, right? It's pizza night, I have to eat pizza, right? These are the rules. These are the rules, the social expectation, the social norms. And isn't it convenient that, you know, you're expected to eat pizza on pizza night, because isn't pizza great?
I think it is the social occasions that
Social-
is the hardest part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're not in control necessarily of what you are eating. You have to eat what everybody else is.
Yeah.
Ooh, isn't that interesting? You have to eat what everybody else is
Yeah,
eating.
because that's all there is.
That's how we feel, isn't it? That's how we feel. We feel like we have to eat what everyone else is eating. And we don't feel like we have any control over the choice of food in those social occasions. So it gets really interesting on my program when we look into this. But absolutely, it was certainly my top one, my biggest one that held me back. What else could it be? Helen says sugar. So that compulsion, that sugar addiction, which is built in. It's not our fault. Humans are designed to crave sugar. We are designed to crave sugar. So that's not our fault. What makes it difficult is in nature, we didn't have that much sugar readily available. You know, we were designed to go and gather and go looking for the fruit, looking for the honey, looking for the sweet stuff, and you know, put in all our effort into getting a small amount of sugar. But now it's just so readily available that it's kind of not serving us. Amanda says energy is the defining factor for me. Yeah, absolutely. So what else might be holding?
Can I say one that's not on your list that I think gets me is that kind of vicious circle of, if I've got no energy, I go for the easy convenience foods.
Convenience.
That are the things that are actually not going to give me lots of energy. So I feel like I got into this really bad cycle of being tired, so making easy food that was then making me more tired, and getting out of that spiral.
Yeah, everybody's nodding, Rebecca. Yeah, absolutely. It's a vicious cycle, isn't it? We're low on energy, we go to convenience, which makes us more tired. So yeah, that can hold us back. It's a very common story. How would it feel if you could be at peace with food? If you could, when I say at peace with food, all right, maybe at peace with eating, you know, unsupportive foods, but are we? How would it feel to be at peace with eating for health? You know, to be presented with food choices and to be comfortably empowered to choose the healthier food without having those issues and those associations, and knowing how to make healthy choices and go, yeah, and to be at peace with the way you eat when you do eat the less supportive stuff, when you have a glass of wine, when you do have a meal out, to be able to have that guilt-free, because you now have developed a lifestyle where you can do that occasionally, where you know your boundaries, and you know how to choose wisely and how to choose in a way that is going to leave you feeling more energized and less sluggish and bloated. How would it feel if you could ditch dieting forever? Because dieting is that, you know, when I'm talking about dieting, you know, I'm talking about diets that don't work for us. That's what I'm talking about. And to be able to eat what you want without guilt. And overcoming confusion is a big one as well, because there's a lot of confusion out there about what's healthy and should we be eating low carb? Should we be intermittent fasting? Should we be calorie counting? Should we be eating low fat? Should we have shake? You know, it's so much confusion. And actually what we find is when we look to nature, it cuts through all that confusion. It cuts through all the confusion, and it's just really simple. And that's why I coach. What are your go-to foods, would you say? So here we have the biscuits, the cheese, the wine, the takeaways.
Cheese, yeah.
Pasties,
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, pasties, savouries, the chocolate, yeah. All the favourites are here, aren't they? And we're not demonising these foods, you know? These are just, in many ways, these are unsupportive. That's what I like to call them. And they're also available to you as freedoms once you've mastered eating for health. How do those foods feel when you have them? How do you feel if you do have a pizza?
If you do have one.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Top right, holding her tummy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really.
Bloated.
why did I do that?
Why? And then what do? Beat yourself up?
Yeah.
Why
Probably
did
a glass of wine to make myself feel
a
better.
glass of wine? I never learn. What's the matter with me? Why do I do this every single time? Yeah, vicious cycle. When you go to that either comfort food or the convenience food, with convenience, it's what need are you trying to satisfy is usually convenience, but not always. So think about the food. Let's say it's the pizza. The pizza, what are you trying to do? Pizza night. There's an emotional need.
You know, I think we're more inclined to have pizza night in the winter. And I think it's that sort of, we're just, instead of just sitting around and doing nothing, no, we're having pizza night. It's movie night, you know, and
connection.
so it kind of makes you feel that you're doing something, not just sitting around. You're not sitting around eating pizza, you're having pizza night. It's do you get what I mean?
It's an occasion.
Yeah, it's an occasion. Yeah.
Celebrate.
Mm.
Yeah. So pizza equals celebration.
Yeah.
But if it's friends come round for pizza, that's connection. We all eating the same. And you said earlier, you have to all eat the same.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're having. And that's connection. We're looking for that connection with our other fellow humans. Amanda says numbing. Some people eat to numb. We eat because we feel crap. We want to eat something that gives us pleasure because we need some pleasures in our life. We eat to de-stress. We eat to relax. So what might you eat to comfort yourself? Anyone got any favorite comfort foods? Chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah.
Cheese. It used to be fish and chips for me. If I ever had an argument with my ex-boyfriend, this is when I was a teenager, I'd go up the fish and chip shop and I'd get myself a bag of fish and chips and it would be comfort. So sometimes those stodgy foods, we're looking to feel full and we're looking for that hit. Sometimes we're looking for that hit, that blood sugar spike. We're looking for that carb hit. So with those comfort foods, the needs that have a look at the need that it's trying to satisfy. So in your workbook, we're already on question 7 and I haven't given you an opportunity to reflect, but what you can always do if you want to do the work in a little bit more depth with a bit more time is go back through this workbook and answer the questions once you've had a chance to reflect. So that was question. Oh, it's a slightly different version of this. You might want to, I think I've got a slightly different version to you. Number 7, what does yours say?
What am I really looking for when I turn?
That's it. Good. That's the one. What are we really looking for? So pop down your answers: the numbing, the comfort, the connection, the celebration, change my mood, cheer me up. That's what we're really looking for. The next question is, does that food actually fulfill that emotional need? When you eat chocolate, do you feel comforted? When you eat pizza, do you feel more connected with your humans?
It satisfies a need for a very short time, doesn't it, really? But not long term.
Yeah. So when we're in the room and we're all eating pizza, it's not the pizza that's given us the human connection. It's the activity of eating together that is giving us the connection. And actually, would you get that same connection if everybody brought food to share? And you picked, this is nice. You'd still get that with a beautiful bring and share. And those that want their unsupported foods can bring those. And those that want the healthier foods can bring those. And you still have that lovely connection. And even better, because then you're talking about the food rather than just scoffing pizza. So it's not in the food. But as you said, there can be momentarily a reward. There's always a reward in the food, otherwise we wouldn't do it. The reward is usually a moment of pleasure or a hit or a sweet taste or something delicious, but that usually lasts for the duration of the chocolate bar or whatever it is we're having. And then what happens when that's gone? Do we feel better?
No.
Has it done its job?
No.
No, because we end up feeling One, we want more. We want more of it because we're left feeling unsatisfied. And two, we can be left feeling worse, either because the food itself has made us feel worse, like pizza, or because now we feel guilty or stupid because we've done it again. So we're emotionally starting to feel worse because we're like, oh, what's the matter with me? And we start beating ourselves up and that. So I think we can start to see that the food that we're using to change that emotional state or to give us that emotional reward is not actually doing what we think it's doing. But because our bodies feel, because of, habit, the way habits form is if it feels good, you'll do it again. And it feels good in that moment. And the body learns, the chimp brain learns, do it again, feels good, do it again, do it again. And in this modern age, that chimp brain, we know, doesn't support us because things are different now. And we're not living close to nature anymore. And so that doesn't support us in this world of unsupportive foods. So the question is, how else could you fulfill that need? So let's say it's connection. Could you? Any ideas? Any suggestions from those prompts?
Hobbies.
Yeah, we do craft. We try to do crafting, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold water swimming.
Cold water swimming, we do.
Lovely. And what does that do for you?
Oh, you can answer that.
Just makes you feel fantastic. It brings everybody together because we tend to do it in a friend group anyway. So we all share the same experience. You just feel elated and alive.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Connection. It's going to give you more vitality. So many lovely things. It's a great activity. I'm wondering if there's something that you can do in the moment. You could definitely arrange as a cold water swimming event or talk to your fellow swimmers. What could you do in the moment? It's like, I'm feeling like I need something. I need something to make me feel good right now.
Go and try an outfit on that you'd really like to get into and can't, and make it your goal to not have that instant fix.
I think that's going to be it might be a motivator for some to say, I'm going to get into this outfit. Yeah, it might be a motivating factor. I'm looking for something that's more nourishing. So in the pictures I've got, ring a friend, talk to a friend to feel love and connected. Cuddle the dog. They've got a picture here of a guy with a cat on his shoulder. Cuddle your pets to feel comforted. Yeah, to feel connected and comforted. I've got a picture there of a bath with essential oils and candles and rose petals. I mean, it might not be rose petals for you, but a warm bath and some music. What's that going to do? How's that going to make you feel?
Yeah, good. I think I need to get back to reading a book. I used to love reading a good book and I just don't anymore.
It's a real treat to read a book when we're so busy, to give ourselves the gift of time and sit down with a cup of tea and read a good book. And just, even if it's just for an hour, I'm reading this book for the next hour. It's a treat. It's a gift to ourselves. Relaxing, isn't it? So that kind of thing will deliver relaxation.
That's where I need to put the glass of wine down, because by the time I get to sit in bed and have a read of a book, I'm usually so tired from the glass of wine that I can't bother to read. So
let's come to the wine, because we've got activities here that can give you relaxation, connection, comfort, right? That's what this is. The idea is. So write a checklist of things that can bring you relaxation, connection, comfort, and reward. How can you reward yourself in a non-food way? Now, wine is relaxing. It actually is relaxing because it chemically relaxes you. My question is, were you looking for chemical relaxation?
No, I think with me, with that, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an alcoholic or anything like that. I do drink a lot, I'm not an alcoholic. But I think what happened was when the children were growing up and my daughter was ill, that I would be on the go so much during the day that when they'd all gone to bed and it was the evening, that was just the easiest thing. Was, didn't feel like reading a book or doing this. nice glass of wine, you do feel chilled, and then you start to that relates to being relaxed, and then it snowballs, doesn't it?
And it does relax you, because the alcohol has a suppressing effect, a relaxant effect on the body. But if you're looking for relaxation, there's a difference between the kind of relaxation you can get from alcohol and the kind of relaxation you can get from having a bath and reading a book. What's the difference in the way that relaxation feels? Anyone? Have a think about it. How do you feel when you relax with
I
wine?
think it's just less effort to pour a bottle.
Wine is easier, more convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why we do it, I think, because my mum and dad's ringing. That's why we go to wine, because it's easy. It's just opening a bottle, and what happens is immediately, then with that, it's kind of like vegetating, isn't it? And then you're like, oh, I want another one of them. So for me, that was like, it's like a sinking,
By me,
like a numbing, like Amanda said, it's like a numbing, but it does relax the body. So it's a tricky one. However, let's have a think about how it feels to relax when you're all tense and you're all discombobulated, and you do an activity that's relaxing. You go out for a walk, you cuddle the dog, maybe you have a bath, maybe you read a book. How does that relaxation feel?
I wouldn't say I do it that often. Don't get time. I've got to make more time. That's the thing. Yeah. Stop doing things for people.
Rebecca says it feels nourishing.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Amanda says it feels indulgent to the point of selfish. It must be good then, Amanda. It makes you feel that indulgent. Yeah. And because we're women, and because we're giving constantly and doing, and there's never any time for us, it feels indulgent to the point of selfish. A relaxing activity. Just interesting to note. But in terms of how it feels in the body, the physiology, it feels more wholesome, doesn't it? You can relax and you're still vibrant, you're still energized, you're still awake, you're still in the room, you're still there for the other humans. Whereas when you have the wine to relax, it's like, well, I'm in my own little bubble now. Very different kind of relaxation, the chemical relaxation versus the wholesome relaxation. So not judging the wine, but it's just interesting to note that it's different. So we go to it for really quick and easy. You can have quick and easy, or you can have wholesome. Just interesting to note. So I'm offering you those as possibilities. And what I'm not saying is don't have the wine, don't have the chocolate. I'm not saying that. Why would I not say that? If I say to you, instead of chocolate, instead of wine, go and do something else instead.
Looks like deprivation.
Boom. It looks like deprivation. Thank you. Yes. And what happens then? I want my bloody wine. Yeah, we want it more. And somebody told us we can't have it, or we've just told ourselves that we can't have it. And it becomes this thing that we really, really need. It becomes a crutch. So I'm not saying don't have it. I'm saying have the chocolate and have the wine there, but maybe consider the possibility of doing one of these other activities first, and then reassess. Reassess how you feel. Now, do I want the wine now that I'm feeling more relaxed? Interesting. Now you might feel more empowered to not have it if you want to not have it. If you want to not have it. Yeah. Or you might feel more empowered to get yourself something healthier to eat if you've built in that time for yourself. So it's about empowerment and choice. It's not about deprivation. And it takes time, but this is the kind of thing that can be learned. And this is how I've made my changes, not through deprivation. I have what I want. I still have wine. I still have chocolate. Do I eat pizza? I had a slice of pizza. I still have takeaways. My relationship with those foods now looks very different from how it did before. It's much more conscious, much more occasional, much less unsupportive. So I would choose more wisely. So it looks different in lots of ways, but I still have those things. I still socialize. I still eat at restaurants. I still have a coffee in Costa. I try and go Costa instead of Starbucks because there's no sugar in their coconut milk. But wherever I am, there'll be something that I can have because I have freedom. I have freedom to choose, and I never eat what anybody else thinks I should be eating. And actually, when you dig deep, other people don't need you to eat a certain way. Or maybe our mums sometimes pushing food on us, and they feel like insulted if you won't eat, or maybe the neighbor, whatever it is. Sometimes people do, but generally speaking, it's usually us that thinks we have to eat a certain way to please others, because it's just another way of people pleasing, isn't it? Anyway, let us move on. So have a think about all that. And on your last page, you've got some steps that you can take right away to make a difference. So we all know it starts with drinking water. So there's my challenge to you. You're all doing really, really well with that, by the way. The next one is make a couple of healthy swaps. Okay, maybe if it's pizza night, maybe consider making the suggestion, what if we have a bring and share instead? So that you can bring something that's alternative. And anyone wants healthy swaps, if you're not already in my community, click on the link on there to join my free community, because we talk about healthy swaps all the time. So getting out into nature more. I'm not talking about exercise there. I'm just talking about getting outside. Getting outside just immediately does something to us. It gets us out of the zone and it gets us more connected with nature. Obviously, I've got vegetables and healthy proteins in there, but I'm talking about adding in some more of that good stuff. Fruit, ideally first thing. Won't get into that now. Sleep, play, laughter, and connection. So we know these things, but you've now got a checklist. Okay, you've got a checklist. There's a good place to start. So how's that going so far, everybody, before I come to the last 5 minutes? Great. I hope you've got something that you can take away there that you can start to reflect on. For anybody that's interested in really making a change and doing it now, well, not now, at the end of March. So we've got a program. It's a 13-week program called Eat Well, Feel Great. Now, I did say Penny did this, but she's had to leave. Penny did this in a big group, not with me as a coach, but the difference between the group that Penny did this in and me, with me as your coach, this is what's going to make it completely doable. And I am getting nearly 100% success rate. So the pillars of success on this program are dramatically improving your energy. Weight release, that should go at the bottom of the list. I'm going to change this. But the average is £21. That's the average. We don't try and lose weight. That's why I put it at the bottom of the list usually, because I get everybody to stop thinking about losing weight. We don't weigh. We weigh at the beginning, we weigh at the end, but we stop weighing ourselves if we can, because this is about learning to eat for health. And you can't get properly nourished while you're thinking about food restriction and deprivation and calorie counting and portion control. So it's about getting properly nourished. But you will release weight. Better sleep. Almost, it's like out of the people who said they had sleep problems, almost all of them said their sleep was improved. And the others didn't have sleep problems to start with. Reduced joint pain and stiffness. Almost every single person who joins that has got joint pain and stiffness, assuming it's from inflammation. This is not necessarily the same for anybody that presents with osteoarthritis, which is more to do with the bones. This is about inflammation, which is what most of us are getting when we get into our 40s and 50s. It's that joint stiffness, that rheumatoid type arthritis, puffiness, do the ring test. Who finds their rings are very tight sometimes? They get inflamed, puffy. It's, inflammation, gut disorders. We're seeing dramatic improvement in digestive disorders. reflux, acid. I used to get terrible. I should have put that on my list. Every holiday and Christmas, I would get terrible acid reflux, and I would take medication for it. I started off taking the Rennies when I was young. Dad would give me them as a teenager. Oh, have a Rennie. And then later on, it was ranitidine, which is now banned because that was longer lasting. That would last 12 hours. And then it was prescribed by the GP, the old proton pump inhibitors, the old PPIs, I can't remember what the name of the one I had was. But now if you go to the GP and you say I was struggling a lot with acid reflux, PPIs. I didn't need them. I just needed to improve the way I was eating. They didn't once say, well, what are you eating? What causes it? And I would have said, well, pizza, takeaway, cider, chocolate, that's what's causing it. They didn't ask me. They just prescribed the medication. I don't need it now. I don't need it at all now. Don't even need a Rennie. Symptoms. What are the symptoms? Allergies. Loads, almost all of these we see constantly on this program. Now, it's not a guarantee. I can't guarantee every single one of those will improve, but you will get significantly more energy, you will release weight, and you will improve your health in some way. Absolutely. So how does it work? It's a 13-week program that we don't diet. It's a re-education around food. And you've seen the pictures of food that I've showed. It's just a way of learning to eat more natural, that's easing you gradually away from the processed food. Now, you might think that that means a lot of time spent in the kitchen, prepping food and cooking. Well, it doesn't when you know how. Do I look like somebody who spends hours in the kitchen? Mm-hmm. I spend more time doing my hair than I do in the kitchen. So, all right, I've got a lovely hubby who cooks. And that's great. But what I'm saying is the kind of meal prep that we're talking about can be quick, can be convenient, can be simple. And I will teach you how to make it easy so that you're not necessarily cooking every day. You've always got something in the fridge that you can just grab and reheat. And you've always got something that you can carry to work or out for the day. It's really about learning how to do it. So you'll be really surprised. Easy food prep. Overcoming cravings is just a side effect of what we do. The sugar cravings will go, the low blood sugar cravings, that hangry, that'll go. It just goes. You will get into a fat burning metabolism because that is nature's way. It's called spring. That's how we evolved to eat in spring. Fat burning metabolism, and the fat comes off without even trying. You learn to love food again, because when you learn to love the healthy food again, really love healthy food, because we're going to make it yummy. And not only that, but you learn to love it because when you are eating better, you feel better. Each week, we make one change. And it might be adding something really healthy in before we take anything away, before we even suggest taking a break from something unsupportive. Might be adding something in. And every time you add something in that's healthy or take a temporary break from something that's unsupportive, you notice, oh, I feel so much better. And all I changed was one thing. And so because of that, you will make the association that when you change that thing in your diet, that easy thing that you've now done for the last week and has now become easy, you notice how much better you feel in your body. So that programs it in. That love of healthy food gets programmed into the body. And everybody says they find their mojo again because it gives them that new sense of vitality and vibrance. So I just want to quickly introduce you to my December graduates. They started with me in September. It's a 3-month program, 13 weeks. And let's have a look at them. So I got them on the last day because we coach over Zoom. I coach over Zoom. So these people are from all over the world, mostly UK, but Anita there, she's in Boston. I've got somebody from South Africa. I've got somebody in Spain. I've got people all over the world. But look at these, Shauki, food is no longer in control of me. Dee, who is she approaching? How old is Dee? Is she approaching 70? She feels 10 years younger. She's approaching 70. She was doing that. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be 70 soon. She feels 10 years younger. She's lighter than she's been in over a decade. Alison, sustainable, healthy eating. Who's that? That's Ellen. My positive energy has returned. 12 pounds released. She was slender to start with. She lost 12 pounds. And I feel so light. She's bouncing. Lovely lady here in the middle. Mood so much, Nikki, mood so much more stable. She only joined for weight loss. She improved her depression. She said, can you believe I joined to lose weight? But actually, what I've found is my mental health is so much better. We're seeing an awful lot of that. and it goes on. So just to highlight one of those for you, who I mentioned earlier, the lovely Karen. Now, she was in a terrible way, with a lot of grief in her life. She'd really struggled with, you know, she'd lost some close family members in the last year, and she wasn't feeding herself well. She was living on toast and cereals, and she was feeling ill, unwell, no energy, and you know, she didn't have much to live for, is what she told me. Terrible inflammation. Her ankles would come up like this, and it was debilitating. She could barely move when that happened. Terrible headaches, terrible acid reflux. And yet, why did she join? To lose weight. Ladies, what is society doing to us? She joined to lose weight. Luckily for her, this is a health plan. She's no more headaches, no more acid reflux, all those symptoms gone, feels more alive. And the lovely thing about this is the vitality. This is a photo of her that I took when we met in Somerset last summer. And she turned up in her yoga gear. And I said, can I take a photograph of you? Because she's there. Oh, I'm in my yoga gear. It's just a completely different woman. She got purple hair as well now. Transformed. So it's so lovely to see what food can do. This is just food. This is just eating for health. This isn't, oh, and I made it go running around the block. No, just food. Okay, we're going to talk about movement. If you like to walk, we'll get you walking. If you like to do yoga, we'll get you doing yoga. But it's not about workouts. And then finally, Drew, the lovely Drew. Look at the difference between Drew before and after. She was somebody who loved to run. She got into running, but she was carrying, well, actually, I think she was probably carrying 3 stones more, but looking at the difference in her. On the scales, that showed a 2-stone release, which she was overjoyed with, but it looks more like 3 stone to me. And sometimes we gain healthy weight, we gain muscle and bone, possibly even bone density. So sometimes it doesn't reflect quite how much fat we've lost off our bodies, because the body gets healthier and heavier, you know, in a healthy way. Anyway, the main thing for Drew, apart from the weight release, is, even including the weight release, is the feeling in control over food. She didn't know what she was doing before. She felt completely out of control, grabbing chocolate, didn't know what to eat, cravings, compulsions, just complete confusion. And now she didn't like fruit and veg before, and now she loves fruit and veg. And it's unbelievable how, when it changes in the way that I described, you'll want to eat for health. You'll want that because you'll want to feel that way. But what's interesting as well is you learn to love fruit and veg. You actually the taste buds change, and you actually go, oh, I'd never realized how nice sprouts. I love sprouts. Oh my goodness. I never liked any veg when I was a kid. And in my 20s, I would only eat veg because I had to. And then when I had kids, I got a better relationship with veg, because now, of course, we're trying to get the kids to eat veg, aren't we? But I didn't really love it. I do now. If I'm eating out and I go, well, where's the veg? I'll always order more veg now, because I absolutely love it. Anyway, so those are just 2 lovely case studies. And there are 100 of those. I've coached 100 people now, most of them women 40 plus. I've also coached some men and teenagers too. I had a lovely family that who came to me, 3 autistic boys in their teens, mum and dad, but it was dad that needed this. Okay, mum wanted to lose weight, but dad was ill. Dad was ill all the time. An old friend of mine, and he came to me and he could barely speak. He was so unwell, so stressed out because of his ill health that he could barely speak. He was stammering. Anyway, they're bouncing around now. So I've coached families as well. And my class that I've been talking to you about, I run 4 or 5 a year. The next one is at the end of March. And there are 20 places on each class because it's a perfect group size for us all to have a lovely community, a lovely little family in a group in Facebook. And when we're on the Zoom calls, it's just like this. And with 20 people, we get about 12 people showing up on the Zoom calls and everybody gets a check-in. So it's close coaching in a group. There are a range of prices available, which we can discuss on a call because it depends on what level of support you need. So there's a number of different levels of support, but the standard offering, I will tell you, yes, it's going to be more than Slimming World and more than Noom because it's group coaching with me for 13 weeks, right? And so you get 29 sessions of group coaching with me. And you're, because of the success rate I'm getting, you're pretty much paying for your results. You're buying your results because I do offer a money back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, I will give you your money back. So we can talk about the prices depending on what level of support you need. But it's less than a week in a health spa. Let's say that. It's less than 1 week in a health spa. And what could you achieve with 1 week in a health spa? Well, you might get a few pounds off. And then I go back on again. But this one is sustainable. So I wanted to offer you a freebie and I'm going to offer you a free one-to-one. If anybody, well, we'll say the first 5, but if any of you come to me and you want to do it, then I will give you a free one-to-one coaching session to be used on that program when you need it the most. So that is my offer to you, my lovelies. I'm going to stop sharing now and take questions. So any questions about the program or about the steps or about the community? Anybody want to post anything in the chat? Anybody want to come on the microphone?
I've got a question.
Rebecca.
Does it include things like kind of recipes or suggestions of that kind of thing?
Absolutely. So it's always about the food you like. It's about real food, and we never tell you what to eat. But for those who want recipes, we've got recipes, fabulous recipes, but only for people who want them.
Recipes.
Absolutely vegetarian recipes for you. Yes. Yeah. But it's really just about the food you eat. So, I mean, okay, unsupported foods aside, if you know, everybody knows how to make a bolognese or a curry or a stir fry or a soup or a casserole or a salad, but it's about making those things really tasty and more supportive by tweaking them. So yeah, but recipes we can do, meal plans we can do, but not necessarily. Good question. Any other questions? Any other tips wanted? So in that case, if there's no other questions, I will just say thank you so much for your attention and your participation this evening. It's been a lovely little group and it's been really lovely to see some faces, old and new. So the replay will be coming your way. There's a set of emails. Somebody else does this for me. The emails that come, just bear with me. They're automated. So it's just to make sure you've got the information you need and the offers you need. And just if you want to talk about getting on the program, you're not sure, there's no obligation, just book a call with me and we'll have a chat one-to-one and we'll see what level of support is right for you. And yeah, that's it really.
Okay.
Thanks, my loves.
Thanks, Sue.
Take care. And
Nice
I will
to
see you in the community, hopefully.
Yeah. Say hi to
Bye.
Paul.
Will do. Bye, everyone.
Bye.